a cappella. So it's another presentation about, I will say, better data, more harmonized content driven by the UNGGIM Europe Core Data Initiative. What is UNGGIM and what is Core Data? It's an initiative from UNGGIM Europe, that means United Nations Initiative on Global Geographic Information Management, and there is a working group on Core Data, some photo of it. The objective is to define what is core data and to encourage UN European member states to produce and supply this core data. It's about encouragement for production or enhancement. How have we defined it in the working group? Core data is priority data, it's minimum data, it should be geospatial, it should be the most useful to analyze, achieve, or monitor the SDG. That is one of the main drivers of UNGGIM, the famous Sustainable Development Goals, 17, agreed by all member states in the world. And core data may be used either directly or indirectly. We have in the first phase selected 14 core data themes from the INSPIRE list. So most themes of Annex 1, plus elevation, land cover, orthoimagery, statistical unit, buildings, land use, governmental services, and regulated areas. I will say including protected land. We consider it as included in area management. So, one of the consequences of this core data is that it may lead to more harmonized content. How it works in theory. Of course, once we have selected the core data themes, now we are going to make recommendations for core content, mainly based on user requirements, those coming from the Sustainable Development Goals, but also using INSPIRE data specification as very practical starting point. So in general, when we say that, people told us, but we have already INSPIRE. Why core data in addition? Why are you making other specifications? Of course, we have INSPIRE, but INSPIRE is about harmonization of existing data. So there is really no encouragement for new data. It's common exchange model. It ensures some interoperability at European level, but the content will remain quite heterogeneous. There is generally no indication about the expected scale. Most attributes are avoidable. So there may be lots of INSPIRE data, but sometimes with lots of heterogeneity, and sometimes lots of missing elements of information. So in a way, I think most of you have seen this many times. INSPIRE can be seen as a big cheese, but with many holes. And of course, due to all these holes, users are not so happy. They would like more cheese and less holes. So in a way, the core data is maybe a smaller piece of cheese, but more compact and with real information in it. So core data, as I said, it's really about encouraging the production of new data or enhancement of existing one. As there are common requirements mainly driven by the SDG, we can expect that there are common minimum contents that should be available for everyone. So it helps us to define priorities for this new production of upgrade. In 2 words, the 5 words, INSPIRE is about the structure and core data is about the content. We have some commonalities. Of course, we have used INSPIRE data specification as starting point for 2 main reasons. It offers us a wonderful tool for common understanding. When we talk about a specific feature type or attribute, it's defined somewhere. We all understand what we are talking about. Sometimes maybe we disagree if it should be core or not, or if it should be adding structures into it in INSPIRE, but at least we know what we are talking about. And of course, the data model provides very good candidate for core feature types and attributes, especially for vector data. We have some differences because As it's already said, INSPIRE is about delivery of interoperable data. So generally, the model has a large, with lots of features of attributes. Of course, it depends on schemes. But there is hardly no other recommendation about data content. And sometimes there are also some overlap duplication between fields. So as we are in core data that's for production of priority content, we try to say which loops, the key features and attributes, the core information that should be made available in priority, and we add recommendation on level of detail, quality, geographic coverage, and we try also to make our recommendations so that data should be captured only once. Some example on buildings. Generally, what we do, we extract priority features and attributes. For instance, on buildings, we have considered that the buildings that are highlighted in green are the most important, such as the use, the number of dwellings, the number of floors, the age above ground, the date of construction also have been seen as very important attributes required by many SDG, so they should be core priority for production. It's a provisory status, it may change, but it was our first ideas about these core attributes on buildings. And we are also adding some other recommendations. For instance, the INSPIRE data model is quite flexible. You can have 2D geometry, 3D geometry from CTGML level 1 to CTGML level 4. So for us, the 2D geometry is really the first priority, and for 3D, probably the node 2 of CTGML is the best balance between efforts and value. And we have also some recommendation about quality. In general, our recommendations are not very original. It's some basic, good common sense. But nevertheless, it requires some work to make this basic recommendation. So how it may work in practice? Generally, one of the questions that is asked also is, will it be implemented? UNGGIM, we don't have the power to make law. It's clearly not an obligation as INSPIRE. It's just a recommendation. There is no legal obligation. So why will government and data producers decide to produce this core data? Because they will do, because the data sometimes is not so big. Core data is not something revolutionary. Most of you have already a strong part of the core data. It's just about filling the gap. Maybe also just by voluntary adoption, because we try to make relevant recommendations, at least it's our ambition. We have some review process as in the INSPIRE methodology, and from this review process we got some good feedback. For instance, yes, the recommendations are useful either for present or for future. There was also a questionnaire by another group in UNGGIM, and the result for core data recommendation being useful, it was rather yes, from very useful to somewhat useful. And we have also some encouragement by users. The statistic community, especially Eurostat, is very interested by this core data, and some of our themes were included in the list of priority datasets by European Commission, with encouragement also not just INSPIRE data, but to have core data to fill this attribute, to fill the gaps. Not having so many voidable attributes, but trying to fill, to give real information, not just a command structure. So regarding the data delivery, in fact, core data may be delivered just through national products to contribute to achieve the SDG. In a way, it's even the main use of core data. It's just for member states to have necessary minimum data for this SDG. So the idea is a production database with core data and more data. Core data is really about minimum content. We expect that most member states will have something in addition. We are really talking about not ideal data, but minimum data to derive national products. But it may also be used for pan-European use. Of course, for the SDGs themselves, for instance, it might lead to have more harmonized methodology to compute the SDG indicators in Europe, so that they are more comparable between countries. And it can serve also for all the INSPIRE use case. So how it could work? Once again, the production database with core data and more data that provides the minimum set of common key features and attributes, the common level of detail. Being delivered through INSPIRE services, it will provide the common data model and the common coordinate reference system. And possibly in future, if included in the CRD, it can give some kind of pan-European product. So we will have, I will say, the health degrees of interoperability, maybe in a different order, but ensured by this combination of core data and INSPIRE and maybe possibly CRD. So thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Dominique. So we have the time for some questions.
Did we escape too quickly?
Yeah, I see that.
Dominique, you gave the suggestion to bring the core data to the ELF project, the ALS project. ALS is now owned by Eurogeographics, and I saw some themes in the core data which are not familiar to NMCAs, but to other organizations. How do you see that?
Yes, we have some themes such as, for instance, area management and even public services or land use, land cover that are only partly on NMCA. So we will have also to try to convince all the data providers and try to be in touch with them. Likely not everything will be done through CRD, at least not at short term or even at medium term. It's some kind of ambitious program. So there should be another stage in this core data initiative about the political and the economical aspect, and there should be other activities to try to ensure the implementation.
Thanks. I was just wondering, so is there a one-to-one relationship between what you propose and the core data, priority core data sets implementation done by BTK right now? So I guess you share the same definition.
I will say maybe not really, because the core reference data set has been done by Eurogeographic rather quickly to answer the requirement for transport and hydrography in Corinne Land Rover backbone. So it's at the moment limited to only two themes, hydro and transport, whereas we have, I will say, a more long-lasting approach, investigated more generally, not a single use case. But probably in future, it's my wish at least, and maybe something feasible, that the two initiatives should converge at least on some core themes.
So when you talk about core data, actually we are looking at three. So there's the whole set, and there's the subset defined as priority data sets, and then there's the practical implementation.
And there are lots of core data initiatives, yes. It may be confusing.
Okay, thank you. I will now invite our next presenter. We are looking for Bastian van Loenen. So